Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. Our mission is to see a world well led. And our strategy to get there? To empower leaders like you to lead every day. So let's get to work.
Welcome to the Lead Every Day show. I'm Randy Gravitt.
And I'm Mark Miller.
And we're glad you've joined us today as we're having this conversation on greatness. We seeded it for you yesterday. We reminded you there's greatness in all of you as leaders. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a leader show up and they've done what they're supposed to do. And man, we've all benefited from it. And then when leaders don't do that, it makes it really hard. I dream about a world well led. And I just want to remind you today that greatness in you needs to come out. And there's a couple of ways to think about that. So I want to ask you a question today. What are you chasing? When you think about what you're chasing, this idea of chasing greatness is one that's been dear to my heart for the last couple of years. We've had a podcast called Chasing Greatness before we started this podcast. And we always define greatness as not just reaching our own potential, but as I said yesterday, it's helping the people around us reach theirs. Mark, you've put even better language that in this idea of uncommon greatness. In fact, your new book, Uncommon Greatness, coming out in just a few weeks. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but there really is two kinds of greatness when we think about it.
And it's really just an embellishment on the way you've been defining it. Just decided to give it a little discrete language so that we could differentiate common and uncommon greatness. And let me give you a few attributes. Common greatness is focused on the achiever. It's focused on me and what I accomplish. And by the way, common greatness is a good thing, but there is a higher bar. There is a higher standard. Uncommon greatness is focused on others. It's focused on others. Common greatness, really, it's widely celebrated, but uncommon greatness is often unnoticed.
Yeah,
people won't even know.
Uncommon with or common with likes and follows and all that. We think about that, but the uncommon greatness person, the way they think, it's like they don't care if anybody notices or not. They're just trying to do what they're trying to do and help people.
There's a quote out there. We need to probably figure out who said it. Is there's no limit to what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit.
Yeah. That's good.
It's a powerful idea.
That's so good.
But common greatness also, it exalts individual excellence. As opposed to uncommon greatness, it exalts the excellence of others. And that's a different standard. And then I guess the last thing I'd say, because you could make a really long list to differentiate
a lot of
these
things,
two, is that common greatness is fleeting. You know, you think about men and women who have accomplished great things in the domain of common greatness, and it's a flash in the pan, right? It's a headline that's here and it's gone. Those things are forgotten. But uncommon greatness has lasting and enduring impact.
We might even say legacy happens when a person pursues uncommon greatness.
And so I've talked to too many leaders, and I know too many leaders who, to use an old worn out phrase, they spent all this time climbing the ladder only to discover that it was leaned against the wrong wall. And what we're saying is, no, move your ladder. Keep climbing, keep striving, keep serving, but be sure that it's going to benefit others at the end of the day.
That you're on the right wall and you're taking others with you. I mean, I love that mindset. That's great. So what do you say that person who falls into the trap, and why do you think so many leaders do fall into the trap of, again, common greatness is there's some good things about it, but there's a lot about it that becomes self-focused. And I read something even yesterday that the selfish leader is the loneliest leader. I think, the old lonely at the top, I think it's lonely because we're just thinking about ourselves.
It's not lonely if you take folks with you.
It's not lonely if you. That's exactly right. So, what would you say to that person who's struggling with this? I mean, you got any thoughts there?
Well, I think the struggle is real. I think the messages that we're hearing from the world are about common greatness. And the stories of uncommon greatness are there, but they're often hiding in plain sight. And I think you have to know what you're looking for. And I would say just explore. Enter a season of discovery. Don't feel like you're making a decision that is irrevocable. It's like, hey, I'd like to pursue this. I'd like to learn more about this. I'm curious about this idea of uncommon greatness. Could I really be that kind of leader? My answer is yes. But you got to take the first step. And I think an open heart and an open mind is my advice.
There was a point in your own leadership at some point along the way, I'm assuming, where you made this decision that you were going to go down this road of uncommon greatness, servant leadership, however you want to say it. That's kind of a loaded term these days. But the uncommon greatness term, you made this decision. And it's funny, you and I are both people of faith, and we have a friend who actually is an atheist who said to us both, he said, it seems like that the more you serve and help people, the better it ends up being for you. You remember when he told us that? It was kind of funny. He's pushing on us a little bit there, but I think at some point you did make a decision like this is going to be the best way for you to lead your life and to lead what it is you're leading, like your life and leadership. Do you remember a point where you did that, or you decided that in a leadership context?
I think I do, and it was early because I had the unspeakable privilege to be surrounded by leaders who were chasing uncommon greatness.
Yeah, that's good.
And I kind of grew up with it, and
Yeah.
I said, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want something that lasts. I want something that encourages, empowers, and lifts others. I want to be that kind of leader. So that's what was modeled for me early.
Yeah.
I'm just so thankful that was the case.
Yeah, if you're a leader out there and it wasn't modeled for you, I'd remind you that I've been to a bunch of track meets, and there's always, if you remember the relay race, the baton and the whole thing, and there's always a lead runner. I mean, it's great to get the baton from somebody, and you got it from your mom and dad, you got it from your business leader, whoever handed it to you early. That's fantastic. But some of you need to be the first person in your organization. The best leaders go first, right? They have this mindset of uncommon greatness, and they make a decision, and somebody's got to start that race. And imagine what would happen if you began to pass the baton. I think it's I think the race is won in the exchange. And you always say people always watch the leader. And so if you're a leader listening to this, make a decision. You got to decide, are you going to go common greatness or uncommon greatness? But if you do some of that list you gave, I love that. If I make a decision to go down that road, begin to model that for my organization, it really could change a lot of stuff. I mean,
it really could. And we talked about this in episode 1 as well. People always watch the leader.
Yeah.
Whether you want them to or not.
Yeah.
And they're learning something from our example.
Yeah.
So why not model for them uncommon greatness?
Yeah, I love that. I always tell people the leader's voice is the loudest voice, but I think the leader's example oftentimes is louder than her voice. And so I think we have a huge opportunity here to model this idea of uncommon greatness. I hope you'll continue to join us for this conversation. We're gonna keep diving deep on this thing. And if you haven't pre-ordered the book, we talked about it yesterday. It's going to be out, Mark, February 27th. Excited about that. You can get your copy of Uncommon Greatness. But I hope you really will be a part of this conversation these next few weeks. Remember, we're trying to help everybody that's listening, even ourselves. We're trying to become better leaders. It's the first piece of our leadership operating system, and this Uncommon Greatness has given us a way to focus on this, really our point of view on leadership. I hope you'll continue to join us for that conversation. Remember, the best leaders lead every day.